Welcome to From That Comes This. I'm your host, Rebecca Foster. Thanks for being here. If it's your first time with us, you're in for a real treat today. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. It's easy at From That Comes This podcast with an underscore. You can also watch us on YouTube, same title of the show, and you can like and subscribe and share with all your friends. Please remember, this is a safe space. We talk about a slew of things on this podcast. We discuss how many things may turn from pain into purpose. That's a big part of the show. And how we turn struggle into strength. We look things right in the face, the things that maybe don't give us the light that we need. But we need to remember that that light does show up and we can pull ourselves back into that light stronger than ever before. So today's guest, she packs a pretty solid punch. Born and raised in Hamilton, Westdale, I believe, this entrepreneur took a bit of a different path when it comes to founding her business. She went to jail to make it possible. It all came together. Mic drop, I know. My friends, I am super thrilled to introduce Emily O'Brien, who is the founder and CEO of Comeback Snacks.
Yes, that's correct.
That is correct.
That's correct.
I'm super excited that you're here.
Me
you
too.
are a bit of a media legend, not going to lie, right? Your story is remarkable.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did it take you a while to be able to share the story as authentically as you do?
Of course, like whenever you're sharing any story from the beginning, you're like, how do I do this? Like, what do I focus on? And of course, there's different elements to the story. There's growth, like there's different themes. So
right. So for those that don't know your story, Emily, and most people here in Canada have heard about you. Like I said,
I don't know about that.
Well, I think so. You have a remarkable story. It's not an easy story to share, but could you give us a little bit of a rundown about what happened to you and how you ended up to where you are today?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go.
So it was 2012, 2013. I was living in Toronto, had my own social media business. I was kind of I don't say like in the scene, but like there's people, there's parties. My parents got separated and it was very hard. You know, I kind of went from celebrating with drinking and stuff to medicating, completely different turn, not the turn that I wanted it to take, obviously. I mean, I could go on for hours about how all that went down, but for the purpose of this, I was, again, living in Toronto, and I met someone through my work. He was allegedly sober, brought me on a trip to St. Lucia, and 3 days into that trip, it ended up being a drug smuggling trip. I just wanted to go home. I didn't study the criminal code. You know, ignorance is not bliss in this case.
And you were how old when this happened?
I was 26.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, like, I didn't know that world, and so I just wanted to go home.
And so you became, sorry about the term, a drug mule.
Drug mule, failed.
A failed drug. So tell us about that part. So there's so much to the story, Emily.
I know.
So you go on this trip, and I know what I've read is you didn't think you were going to St. Lucia. You were going to Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico,
Okay.
yes.
So that's a bit of a turn.
Yes, and that all happened at the airport. So he
As
changed
you
the
get to the
destination
airport.
at the airport, but I had that suitcase in my hand. He's like, no, we're actually going to St. Lucia. I told you this the whole time. And mind you, prior to this, he was an angel. He was very nice. Like, he wasn't weird at all. Like, he owed me a bit of money, but he wasn't like weird about it. You know what I mean? Like, I just kind of ignored that, because how I met him was I had this company, and like it was a social media company, and his business had hired our company to do some work for them, which we did. And he had like he had one check that bounced. But I ignored it because he had a business partner, and sometimes these things can happen,
Right.
whatever. So anyway, so he brings me on this trip, because at this point, some things he'll say he's my boyfriend. He was not my boyfriend.
Okay. That we need, because that was one of my questions. Were you romantically involved with this guy?
No, I was not physical with him, like nothing
There
like
was
that.
nothing
We
on-
liked each other as friends, and he held me a lot as friends. There was no sleepovers, there was no sex, like there's none of that stuff. So some people want to say boyfriend. I just call him a close friend that like I really liked him because he was sober, and I trusted him.
Okay.
So
and
maybe
you were looking for something like that at that point in
Yeah.
your life, right? He seemed to be that guiding force, maybe
Yeah.
the solid that you needed.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay,
Yeah. And
okay.
I really wanted to go on a trip that was sober. Like I wanted to get
You
out
did?
of yeah.
Okay, so the party scene, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too, but the party scene was becoming too much.
Yeah.
He was kind to you. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say?
He helped me walk my dog, which like the little simple things. Like he helped me get my car fixed when I just like didn't want to leave my house.
Okay.
Right? So really simple things.
So looking back now, did he target you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Okay. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's doing nice things for you, and all of a sudden, like, there's some red flags here, right? We're older now. You're a little bit older now. When you look back, I'm sure you're thinking, what was I thinking? He's being kind. You needed that at that point in your life. He's going to take you on a trip. Tells you you're going to one place, then changes the destination while you're at the airport, or already had picked that destination, and then tries to make you think that he'd already told you it was St. Lucia, and you maybe were drinking and didn't pay attention.
And I had to like scroll back through my messages to find and I showed him the evidence. He's like, "Oh, that's my bad," but the attitude was still there that it was still my fault.
Okay, so the manipulation has happened, right? A little bit of power and control I'm sensing here. You're a young woman. You want to go away. You want to have a nice vacation.
But I also knew that I drank. So again, it was very easy to just blame myself.
Okay.
Like I wasn't being like, "Oh, I wasn't drinking," because at that time I definitely was.
So you could have.
Yeah.
You could have missed what he said.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get to St. Lucia
Yeah.
and you think you're having a nice,
The first
Just
3 days were
vacation.
great.
okay.
Like on the third day, he was like drinking and stuff. So he like started partying and stuff when he was down there.
And you knew him to not do those
Yeah,
things.
he
was
said he'd
sober.
been down that path. You know what I mean? Like and that's why I liked hanging out with him, was because
Okay.
I could trust him and he wasn't trying to party with me or drink with me or any of those things, right? So
Okay, so then what happens? You're there, you're seeing him party. Are you getting a little nervous at that point? That
I'm
something
getting a
doesn't-
little nervous. So when I'm nervous, I just drank. So I just
Okay,
drank
fair.
with him too.
You're self-soothing, self-medicating.
Yeah.
So you're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Then how did you then get to the drug part of the
Yeah.
story?
Yeah. So it was the Wednesday. We flew out on a Friday.
Okay.
And then this is the Wednesday. And he's like, "You're not actually going to go down to the pool today. Did you all just think this is fun and games? Like, we're actually here to work." And I was just like,
What did you say? Do you remember?
no,
No.
not really. Like, I just got in he's like, "Our friends are picking us up." Our friends, like, saying like I knew these people, which I didn't. Yeah, he was like, "You're getting in the car with me." And so at this point, like, I'm not hammered. Like, I was not, like, it was like I think it was 2 p.m. But like, I was
Right.
not like partying. I was completely sober for this. Two days after that, I was not, by the way.
Okay.
After what happened.
Fair.
But so we get in this car, and it's like this rundown car with like, I don't know, duct tape, seat belts, and you know what I mean, like just a really ratty car. So, but again, I'm not really afraid as to like where I'm going. Like, I just didn't.
You weren't.
No, because like I didn't think it was that nefarious. I just thought it was weird.
And you trusted him still.
Yeah, I was on the trip with him. I was
I'm
like,
sorry,
okay.
how long had you known this guy for?
Almost a year.
Okay. Keep
Yeah.
going. Yep,
Yeah,
keep going.
almost a year. And I met him in like the winter prior to that, and this was now July. So get in the car, and then I'm not looking at like for landmarks, because I'm not trying to like thinking I have to go get out of this car because I don't really know what's happening. So we show up to this place, and it looks like a bed and breakfast from the outside, but there's no like dogs, there's no like
Nothing.
there's no like people with guns or like there's.
So it's not like what you see on TV.
No,
Okay.
it's not like that
It's
at all.
just
So
a
we go
bed
inside
and
and it's like a
breakfast.
grandma and like some kids, but then and then like one other person, and she's like, "Thanks so much for doing this." And I'm like, "What?" And that's when he's like, "I'm so sorry."
So
He says
he's
this in-
apologizing to you.
Yeah,
Total manipulation at
Yeah.
this point. So this grandma, is this the I don't even know what you call this.
I don't
person.
really know who like again. I'll never know whose role was
Right,
what.
okay.
Other than like she managed the goods in this house.
The goods.
The goods. And so we got inside. I could see all the paraphernalia in the walls.
In the walls.
Yeah. So like where you see like a shelf that has plates on it. Well,
Right.
there's no plates on the shelf. Like there was like
There's-
there's no plates and cups. So instead it was like
Cocaine.
bricks of yeah.
Which okay.
Yeah.
This is are you not terrified at this point? Or
I
you're
feel a
just
little
kinda like-
sick, but I mean like at that age I just like I still wasn't like afraid yet. Like I just wasn't. Like
Okay.
I don't know if I was in shock at that point. I don't
But
know.
you-
Like I didn't
you-
like start getting scared till later.
Okay, so at what point? So what happens? So you walk in, you see this stuff, you're like, okay.
And then she tells me I have to get measured. So then she pulls me aside, and she doesn't really say anything. She just takes this measuring tape and she's going to measure me because that's how they make these custom-sized drug smuggling shorts. And they're like, so I'm like getting tailored.
For
It's
your
my
drug
own personal
shorts.
tailor.
Okay.
And then after that, we have to go to like this store. So she takes my measurement, and we go to the store, and I have to pick out this dress with this lady. She's like, I'm gonna pick 3 dresses from the shelf, and like we're gonna just be shopping together. And then eventually, she's the one that chooses like the dress. So She picks 3, and then she's like, oh, this one. So it's like,
So
it
are
was
you
such a,
having like an out of body
I think
experience
I
at
think
this
I
point?
was, yeah.
Watching what's happening as it's happening to you?
Yeah.
Like I'm feeling this for you.
Yeah,
This is
that was definitely
horrifying.
it, because it's not like I wasn't drunk or anything.
Right. Okay, so you're kind of
I was like
taking
in
it
La
all
La
in.
Land, right? Like, 'cause-
Well, I think you're probably in shock
Yeah.
at this point, not, in disbelief that this is happening.
yeah.
Okay, so then you get measured the dress. She picks out a dress for
Yeah,
you.
and this is the dress and then it turns out that he had like taken my passport from the safe. So he had my passport the whole time. And so I couldn't even get my passport. He gives it to this lady to buy it at we're at like some duty-free store in St. Lucia. And so she like has my passport. Like apparently I'm traveling with her. I'm not even sure how the whole thing was orchestrated, like
Right.
why it was orchestrated that way. Like, but anyway, because he didn't come shopping with me at the store to buy a dress, right? Maybe it's to make it look more normal. I don't know. Anyway, so again, she takes the dress back, and then they drop us back off at our hotel after this. Like he's in the car, or they're in the mall, but they're not in the actual store. So we go back to our hotel, and then the next 2 days, I'm just like freaking out because I didn't want to do this. I was like really scared. And
So you have 2 days before you have to come back home to Canada.
Friday, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then it's starting to sink in what's
The
happening?
Wednesday, yeah. So I guess it's technically one day, but
Okay.
yeah. So like I went out, and I was just getting like, hammered, and like
Coping,
I
is
left the resort. I literally left the resort, and then that's when he tries to tell me, oh, I've done this before. And you know, he's like, I've done it multiple times. And then he actually tries to get me excited. He tries to like tell me he's gonna pay me, and I was like, I just want to go home. Like that's when I started to look back on all my travel and realize, because like when I was younger, not when I was younger, still young, but when I was 18, I traveled abroad to Costa Rica, and then I did an internship in Indonesia. I worked for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I did a volunteer trip to Peru. Like all these trips that I did to like volunteer, I realized that were a part of like, and I took a trip to Texas for Habitat for Humanity. So I saw, I guess like I told him kind of when I was getting to know him about all these things that I love to do, and he saw that as like, oh, like she's gonna, and then combining with like, you know, the substance use at that time, it's gonna be like the perfect mix.
Well, yeah. So at any point, did you feel like you could flee or call someone?
He
for
told me
help?
not to. He told me not to even bother.
So was it threatening the way?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And so how are you feeling at that point? Trapped?
Trapped. Yeah, and that's why I like literally just drank my face off, except for the last day, except for the Friday morning.
Because you
So-
had to get on the plane.
I had to but I also knew that I wanted to be sober for the flight. Like I made the choice to be sober because I didn't want them to think that I was trying to get away with it. And
God.
I somehow knew that my body language would tell the truth, if not, because I wasn't going to go out like ratting on the operation, right? Like, and I didn't know who to trust. Like he said, and again, I don't know if this is true, but he said everyone at the airport was in on it. I can't blame people. I can't.
You don't know. Yeah,
don't know.
You don't know. And
Right?
if somebody who is controlling your every move, basically, because
Yeah.
that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
He somehow manipulated you, and you're a very smart woman. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So you get to the airport.
Yeah.
Are you sweating?
Yeah,
Are you
I'm sweating.
shaking? Like, what is
I was wearing
happening?
a cardigan. Like, so we have to leave. So I have to go through this first detector on the way out. But he's like, the people know. And I could so this is what it looks like. You're wearing bike shorts, and then there's a pouch in the front of the bike short and a pouch in the back.
Okay.
Right. And then so over top of this, I'm wearing this dress and then this cardigan. So I'm already like sweating, right?
Yeah,
Because they
and your
pick us
nerves,
up.
yeah.
They pick us up, and then we have to like put the drugs on us. They're not going to leave us at the hotel with the drugs, right? So they pick us up, and then we have to get fitted, and then they take us to the airport. And so I'm like sitting in the hot car in a hot country with like it looked like a Kleenex box was shoved under my dress.
Well, you're a tiny
Yeah,
human.
and it's like the most hideous dress that I would never wear in my life. It's so
You
ugly.
do have a video on your social
Website.
media sites, so if anyone wants a little bit of an idea, and we'll post all your socials up, through the podcast. So
I'm laughing now in hindsight, but like at the time it was not, But sometimes you just have to look back and be like, oh my god.
you do, and I love that you can,
Yeah.
Emily, because this is what has moved you forward in your life. So
Yeah.
just to sum up, that you get to the St. Lucia airport, you get on the plane.
Get on the plane,
You're
everything.
heading home to Canada.
Yeah.
Are you like crapping your pants at
Yeah.
this point? Like,
Yes.
tell me about the flight home in a short
So
window.
he could tell that I was freaking out, right? Because I was
Yeah.
like,
You've never been a drug mule before.
Yeah,
okay?
this is not something I wanted on my resume ever.
Right.
Anyway, so one of the things that he told me like over the last like little bit before we left to kind of calm me down was like, okay, like you can take the drugs off, and put them in your backpack and give the backpack to me so that when we're talking to customs, it'll be on me.
He said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's like I felt a little bit better. Still not the best, but a little bit better. And we get to Pearson, and I'm about to go to the bathroom, and he's like, "Oh no, it's way too late now." So he never even planned.
He lied.
He lied. Yeah. And so at this point, I just have this like visceral like reaction, right? Like you can't help but like I'm sure the color drained off my face. I'm sure my eyes were darting all over the place because that was something I didn't expect. I'm in the middle of a concourse. Like, and this is before we go to talk to the first officers.
Right. Which is scary enough when you're not doing
and now I'm just
something wrong.
pissed.
Yeah.
Now I'm just pissed. But again, like I'm not going to go being like, help me, because if I sabotage this operation on my own, then it's my ass on the line, which I knew. Like I knew that was
It's amazing that you knew that.
More dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so we go through the first like checkpoint. Like I'm walking behind him because I'm mad. I don't even want to look at him, you know. And I'm sure.
So I'm sure everyone's feeling this, right? And they're watching. They're watching everyone that's coming through.
Yes.
People need to understand,
especially from those kinds of destinations,
Right.
And especially if they have a tip or not. You know, like there's.
So you're pissed off, rightfully so.
Yeah.
You're walking behind
Just
him and
staring at the floor, like you know what I mean.
did they stop him?
So the first thing we went to like together, like, but I was like, I don't know who I am today. Am I your friend? Like, who am I? He's like, oh no, you're my girlfriend. I'm like, I had no coaching, right? So anyway, we go through the first checkpoint, and then they give us like that piece of paper, and it has that number on it. And at that point, it wasn't computerized yet. It was like a red marker,
Right,
with a number.
Yep.
And then so we go, and he thinks like we've made it, you know, and you can see it's this Terminal 1 at Pearson. So you go down the escalator, and then there's like the baggage, and then there's the one thing, but there's also like that last
The
one
last
on the
stop.
left. And
The
you
last-
give it in, they're like, you got to go right. And so at this point, like, I'm nervous, but I also felt relief,
Okay.
you know, like I'm sure I felt a lot of things, but scared at that point wasn't one of them yet.
Really?
No.
Okay, so the officer says, okay, let's go.
I just like wasn't scared because I just knew that we were getting busted. I felt like we were going to all along because I told them all along that I was going to be bad at this and I didn't want to do it. So like I honestly wasn't surprised.
Okay.
Right? And then they separate us. They ask us a bunch of questions, and the last question is like basically they tell me they're going to search me and if I want to declare anything. And I knew that they were going to search me, and I knew that lying to an agent like was just going to dig me deeper. And obviously he didn't know anything. Like everything he told me was a lie. So I just thought I'm not telling a lie this time.
Good for you.
And I told the truth.
And what'd they do?
And then they arrested me, and then I got sent to jail for the weekend. And, you know, I waited in a cell, so I was arrested by the CBSA and then formally charged by the RCMP. And then the Peel police came, picked me up, took me to the Peel jail, and then I went to Vanier jail for the weekend.
And Vanier
Is the, it's like the provincial institution, like the detention center.
Okay, so at this point, are you scared? Like,
Yeah.
You're going to jail.
But like I think it's still like all surreal. Like people like looked at me, they're like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, I was just like, "When can I go home?" You know, I was just I didn't,
yeah.
you know, I wasn't afraid because I didn't know the seriousness of the crime. I didn't like.
Okay.
They call me an idiot, but like I didn't study this thing because I didn't plan it.
Who would, right?
Oh, lots of people did. Trust me.
Well, I guess.
But I don't really care.
No, I love that you can talk about this so openly. So thank you for sharing because I think that this is a very important conversation for anyone who thinks stuff like this doesn't happen to.
Or could never happen to them, or like they would know better.
Because you're a very astute woman. Mm-hmm. You grew up in Hamilton, right? Like one of three kids. Are you
the middle child.
The middle child.
That's where it all went wrong.
You grew up in Westdale.
Yeah, great family.
Great family. I read that you were bullied a bit as a kid for being.
But nothing like. I mean, like everyone.
But you weren't a bad kid. That's where I'm going. Like, people, you're athletic. You're a bit of a tomboy. We have that in common. Not everyone. The girls don't always click with the tomboys. So kids can be mean, right? So you didn't struggle in school so much. You went to university. Mm-hmm. You're a smart woman.
Yeah,
so
I definitely
how the hell does this happen
exactly
to someone like you?
Exactly.
Right? So you get to you get to the holding center. What? I don't even know the proper terminology, but you're in jail at this point.
I'm definitely in jail.
And you know, you've got to make a phone call. Who's your first?
I think they actually called my parents.
They did.
Yeah. And my parents were separated. My mom was up north, and my dad, I don't know where my dad was, but you know, on the Monday was the bail hearing. So I got arrested on the Friday. So I spent the weekend there, and honestly, I didn't have any issues with anyone. I just talk to people like normal.
But that's the beauty of you, I think, Emily, what I've seen. And you have really developed a beautiful way to present yourself from a media perspective. But I think that's authentically who you are. That's my take on you. And I am a
I
PR.
couldn't help myself but just be who I was. You know, I wasn't
Exactly.
tough. I wasn't going to try to start fight. Like, I wasn't like that. I was just like, oh my
Exactly.
God, like, where the hell am I?
You're like, what have I done?
Yeah,
Right?
what
You're
have I
a
done?
real
I was
person.
mortified.
Absolutely. So who do you talk to first? Your mom or your dad or
The lawyers.
the
because-
lawyers?
Yeah.
Okay. So your parents got you a lawyer.
Yeah, they brought him to the bail hearing on the Monday. And so, you know, when you're being brought out into the courtroom, like I'm shackled, like head to toe, like not head to toe, like
But you're
hands
shackled.
and legs.
And are you in a jumpsuit?
I'm in,
Like
yeah, I'm in a sweatsuit.
What color?
It was green.
Green.
Yeah.
Well, you look good in green, so
Yeah,
that's okay.
Not the worst
I
color in the
shouldn't-
world. The dress that I had to smuggle in was
way
horrid.
worse. Way worse. But here's the thing. You're now having to face your parents as
Yeah.
well as a judge, as well as dealing with
As
a
well
lawyer.
as people, you know, that just were so awful. Some people that knew me, you know what I mean? And it was like I couldn't even talk about the case. So, but that's like later on. But anyway, I mean, it's bound to happen, whatever. So my parents, I couldn't even like look at my dad for the first little,
Yeah.
because they can see you, and then I'm next to some person I don't even know. I think they thought that the guy next to me
was the guy,
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
it wasn't.
Okay. Okay.
My mom was like terrified, but also relieved. They were happy that I was okay.
Of course
they
they
weren't
were.
mad yet. They were just happy.
Yeah.
But then
and that's what parents do, right?
that's
That-
what good parents do, and I'm so lucky to have them. You know, and that the next 2.5 years of house arrest were very challenging, but like that was one of my reasons why I had to work at it, because like they were innocent victims in that case. They had to turn over completely upend their lives. I had to move, I had to stay with them. Like they were
They had to
living
take care of
separately.
you again, basically.
Supervise me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank God they could, and they were willing.
And they wanted
and they wanted the best for you, I'm assuming,
yeah,
obviously.
tough
'cause-
love,
yeah,
definitely tough love, but that's what works on me. I mean,
So before we leave this guy, and in an article he's referred to as Noah, just
Yeah.
a name that you kind of threw
no
at him,
one
so-
cares about you.
No one cares. So that's kind of where I want to go.
Yeah.
You've had no interaction with Noah that no one cares about
Yeah.
since then. Like he's a
He actually
nobody.
tried to reach out to me, but I just I forgave him, you know. And
Okay.
yeah,
Of course you did. Tell me.
because
Why?
in the beginning I was so mad at him. Like I hated him. I hated people for assuming that I was doing, because after this happened, a lot of people were just like, "Oh, you must have been doing this on all your trips," and like.
See what
And
happens.
it sucked.
Yeah.
And like, you know, my mom I think she had some of her friends kind of cast her out. Like, just my poor mom. My mom's like the nicest, most innocent person.
I
It's
saw,
like, how dare you? I'm like so protective of her.
as you should
protective.
be, right? And so you not only did you become ostracized, you saw your family losing people that were important to them, right? So that's a
Yeah.
lot of weight for you to carry.
Yeah.
So Noah, you've forgiven him, Noah.
Yeah.
That no one cares about.
Because I wanted revenge and I wanted it bad.
And-
And I was tired of making myself sick and angry over it.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. So
Yeah.
revenge is not the answer.
No.
And I'm sure his own karma will catch up with him.
But
right?
my revenge is sweet now,
You're-
you know? Because you can take
Literally.
you can take that anger or like that energy and like put it into something really good or really bad. And like obviously there's a crime happens in the world because people want revenge and they kind of take the illegal route, like whether it's violence or thievery, like I'm gonna get and I was like I could have went that way, and in the beginning I was surrounding myself with people who told me to pursue that. Like
Really?
you know, and I was like, that's not me. Like that scared me.
You knew who you were.
Yeah.
And through all of that, even in the most difficult of times, you knew you had to stay sober for that ride home, that
Yeah.
plane trip home.
Yeah.
And you knew that's not you.
Yeah.
So you know yourself.
Yes.
So I'm sure this journey has taught you even more about yourself than you ever thought you'd know at
Yeah.
the age that you are. Because
Yeah.
you're a very young woman. You're in jail.
Yes.
Okay. That you create a business.
Yes.
Tell us how. So you're not wanting to attack Noah. You're not wanting to, wallow in pity for yourself.
No.
You instead, how did you get yourself to the point where I'm going to turn this mistake that I made, that I somehow got caught up in, this situation,
Yeah.
and I'm now going to make something of it for myself and for others.
Yeah,
Can
and
you
for my
tell-
family because they deserved it too.
Right. So how did you get from the concept? So you could eat certain treats in jail, I'm assuming. And
Yeah.
popcorn was a
popular prison snack, but I was in Grand Valley Prison for Women in Kitchener, and because I had no priors and I wasn't violent, I was automatically placed in medium security, automatically. But again, you're sharing that space with people that have been convicted of violent crimes, because if you are convicted of a violent crime, you have to spend 2 years in max, and then you can get transition. So I heard all kinds of stories, and I actually heard the humanity. Like, I'm not saying it's a good thing to murder someone, but I actually heard why people do the things and why people did, and I also realized that there was significant trauma behind a lot of situations that happened, and I was just that I didn't have any abuse growing up. I grew up in a
normal family.
I was very, very lucky.
Yeah.
And I just realized so many voices weren't heard, but we all talked over food and sharing meals, and we had birthday parties and stuff. We would.
So you have a community.
Yeah.
Within the jail.
Of people and not of prisoners.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you saw that. Not everyone would see that, Emily.
Yeah.
You're kind of a
I
special.
don't know if
a special package. You really are.
My mother says, she's like, "Oh, you're a special one."
I need to meet your mom at some point because both your parents sound
Yeah,
incredible,
they are
but
both awesome.
I did kind of watch something on social media about the first time that she went to visit you.
Yes.
And how, put yourself in her shoes, right? She's going to see her beloved child who's now behind bars, whether there's bars physically there or not. You're being detained for a crime that you committed.
Yeah.
She had to get herself to the point where she could go and visit.
Yeah, and when I was in the detention, they actually both came together for me.
Did they?
Yeah, but that was behind the glass. They both came. So they
surreal.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Do you guys talk about it now?
Not really so much. Me and my dad actually went on a podcast called "Shit My Dad Taught Me."
Yes, great.
Yeah,
podcast.
so that was we had a ride on that one. So
Good.
Just seeing how much we've all grown, and it's made our bond so much stronger.
That's so good. So you're also forming a bond with a community while you're in jail.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to make flavored popcorn.
Popcorn was one of my favorite foods, and part of my substance use actually stemmed from an eating disorder, and so I didn't want it to I don't want to have a relapse in prison, right? And I was I'm not gonna allow myself to, so I'm gonna create different recipes so I can eat popcorn. And then other people would chime in on their little recipes they had. It's someone was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put Splenda and cinnamon," and throughout all this creativity and popcorn being a blank canvas for creativity, we'd also talk about employment and our insecurities and being accepted.
What are we gonna do when we get out of here?
Yeah,
right?
and prior to going to prison, I just looked up all these success stories of former inmates because I was that was something that I used as ammo to motivate me. And so I knew that there are people that had started businesses, even not just got successful careers working for someone else, but also built businesses. And I didn't ever think I was going to start a business in prison. I didn't go there for that, obviously.
No, but it was a nice benefit
Yeah.
that came of it, right? If I can say that.
Yeah.
So from there, you also knew you wanted to help other people secure employment.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy.
And no one's going to do it for you.
Right. So the business was started when you got out of prison, though.
The actual
right?
transactional part, yeah, of selling the popcorn. I'm not going to sell it in prison, but I created the whole concept of it
In prison.
and art, even the logo, and I would write articles to my now business partner. I'd type them up in the computer room, and then we had this website that had a landing page, so people could sign up with their email address. So I started to build this momentum while I was still inside. And I tell you, getting a letter is the most exciting thing. It's the best
While you're
thing.
there. Well, yeah.
Simple things like that, right?
Those are human connections, right?
Yeah.
So you know that you're not getting as much of that when something shows up. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So you took your skill sets from before this unfortunate situation happened to you.
Series of unfortunate events.
Series of unfortunate events that you participated in, right?
Yes.
You own it.
Yeah.
You had some training, or your business before was social media, right? So you kind of had some experience. You took all of everything that you knew. You took the hard knocks that you felt along the way, and you started this business. And it's called Comeback Snacks.
Comeback Snacks.
So you came up with the name, I'm
yes,
assuming?
Yes. It used to be called Cons and Kernels, but we changed it to be more universal because everyone has needed to make a comeback.
Yeah.
I found that Cons and Kernels just isolated us as people in prison making just popcorn, and that just
Well,
wasn't.
it labels you,
Yeah.
right? And this is a label, but it's universal because
Yes.
it can apply to any one of us.
Yes.
I love
exactly.
it. I love it. So how you're huge. You're huge, right? You're working on increasing your distribution currently. You employ how many?
We've employed 20 people along the way, but then I work with other employers to create fair chance hiring policies.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're like a small organization within, and then we hire people that have been convicted of records for different roles that are contract roles. So it's like sampling, doing sales, coming to events, which is awesome because a lot of times it's a stepping stone. Like people don't want anything permanent when they're coming out of prison right away. They just want something to start.
To try.
And to get them. So like that's why I'm like, okay, you work in different cities. And so I'm like, okay, we're in a store in London. And okay, you live in London. Okay, we'll hire you for the shift out in London.
But do you realize what you're doing for people? How impactful that is?
And I learned from them too, right? Like I learned how much, like how hard that they've worked, right? For someone that doesn't have this family support, but when they see someone else doing it, and then you create that momentum within them, it's actually a gift for everyone.
Yeah, I think your outlook is amazing. I am so impressed with you. I can't even put it properly into words. The fact that you have taken something that a lot of people would have thought their life was over after going to prison.
Well,
and instead you created so much for your own life and the lives of so many other people.
Yeah, and humans are not a headline, and that's the most important thing.
I love that.
So.
I love that. So the connection has always been an important thing.
Yeah.
And that kind of stems back to the partying side of
Yeah.
you. And we all like to have a good time.
Yeah, of course.
And you really liked to have a good time in your early 20s.
Took it a bit too far,
A little
absolutely.
too far, but you learned from that. So I think there might be a lot of parents listening with young kids. And it's very, drugs are prevalent. And, you know, I talk about this with my kids all the time. And, you know, whether you're starting off with marijuana or whatever, it can be a gateway to many other things. What would you say to a parent, and I know you're not a parent at this point.
Just a dog parent.
Just a
but
dog.
It's
You're
not
a dog
the same,
mom.
I know.
It is. It absolutely is. They just don't talk back.
Actually, I did have to send my dog to rehab for behavior. So there we go. She had to go to dog rehab.
Dog rehab. That's okay. It's therapeutic. So, but in all seriousness, there's a lot of people with kids that are at that age where, and drugs are in the elementary school level. Like, sorry if you're
Are
a
they
parent
really? No?
listening.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. I think a lot of things happen from the high school level and trickle down, from what I've heard. So this is a big deal. And if there's parents listening and their kids are, you know, getting into that stream, if you will, what would you say? Because you didn't get it. You got into alcohol and drugs in your 20s.
No, I definitely got into it in high school.
In high school,
Because I didn't know how to socialize because I was an introvert.
So
right?
that was your way to be an extrovert.
Yes.
Okay, so
yeah.
what would you say, being the kid who got into this stuff,
Yeah.
to a parent? What does a parent need to watch for when it comes to their, because the kids aren't always going to tell their parents what's going on or ask for help. So what do you know about you? You mentioned an eating disorder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that sort of get you to where you were going with the drug situation as well?
I think it was a part of it, but I also just liked the feeling of alcohol because I could talk to people. Right.
So it opened you up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what would you say to someone who has a kid who maybe a kid like you were?
Yeah. For me, it was like with my personality, it all depends on the person's personality, but like when someone tells you don't, you're just like, I want to do it. It makes you more curious. So it's like if you're like, okay, like be careful. If you're like more like be careful and like, just like have like systems in place, like make sure you don't do obviously drugs alone or whatever, you know, like
Right.
that's kind of what would have worked with me because I like to figure things out for myself. I like to learn
I
for
can
myself, right? So, but not everyone is different. I mean, you
Well,
can tell
and I
your-
think parents think that all kids are different, right?
Yeah.
There's 3 of you and you have
and my younger sister's never like done cocaine in life. She wouldn't because of me, right? And my older sister
yeah.
too. But we've all got our things.
but
so.
you're all individuals,
All
right? And I
individual.
think as sometimes when you become a parent, there's no handbook,
Yes,
right? No one tells
exactly.
you, okay, you're gonna have one that's like this and one that needs this and one that you're all figuring it out. This is the first time you've lifed together, right? You're all figuring it out. So I think maybe the message is kind of pay attention to your kids.
Pay
right?
attention, yeah, and don't assume that one is like the other, and that one size does not fit all when it comes to like don't do drugs or
Yeah, and I'm going to
whatever.
listen to that too because, you know, all of our kids are different. They're all different. They all have different needs. And I think sometimes as parents, we get caught up in everything else that's going on. And your parents, I'm sure, did the very best they could. And they did
the
everything.
very best that they could.
Every parent does, mostly, right? So,
And they also never had substance use, or they never
When
did
they were-
use it, right?
right.
So it's like I didn't want to listen to them because I was like, you don't even know. when I was
What are
that
you
age.
telling me?
What are you
I'm going to figure this out on my own.
Yeah, exactly.
But you figured it out,
A
right?
little late, but but that's why we're here, right? That's why we're
I
here.
don't think it was late. For whatever reason, the journeys that are before us are the journeys that are before us.
Exactly.
And, you
Exactly.
open one door and go a certain way, and you might go through a window to get out of that
Might go
situation.
head first and get some splinters.
Yeah, there's been a few
Someone might throw you
splinters.
through that door.
Right. So the other part of this, and I think you have such a beautiful way with speaking to people. You now go out and speak to organizations. Do you speak to young people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talk to people's kids on their own.
Do you?
Yeah.
People ask you to do that?
Yeah.
Do they ask you to scare them?
No.
Just have a candid
Or they'll even just be like,
conversation.
look at this person's story. You know what I mean? So maybe it's not as direct, right? So
Right. So you feel
no one
very-
wants it shoved in their face all the time. At least
No.
I didn't like that, right? And maybe that was because I was more riskier of the three kids. Like I was the one always doing trips on my own, right? I was always the one volunteering and taking. But my sisters weren't like that because that wasn't their interest. So I think like I just have this bigger.
You're a free spirit.
I'm not afraid of risk as much. And again, that goes with like the drugs and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And
Yeah.
and
You're
not being
gonna
afraid. I
learn
was
it
afraid of prison. Like I just wasn't.
at all.
Yeah.
Because that was when I wanted to ask you, well, what were you thinking? What was going through your head? And you kind of
Yeah.
sound like it was just what was in front of me.
And people definitely tried to scare me. And like, I just wanted my mom to feel okay. So I was like, if I'm scared, I don't want my mom to be scared. So I told my mom, I was like, Mom, I'm just going to camp.
Is that how you?
That's how I
helped her
framed
cope?
it. Yeah. Because I researched, and obviously prison is not camp for those of you who are listening. I'm not comparing it to like anything like that. But that was just how I made her feel better, saying that it was like I was going to be people with
You
people.
wanted her to know you were okay.
Yeah.
You didn't
Yes.
want her to worry. You and I can feel
Yeah.
that you felt you'd already caused her enough
Yes.
pain,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So now you're trying to fix it. Are you a fixer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took a long time, and I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but by making her more afraid. And like both my parents came to visit me like almost every week, both of them, and same with my sister.
They did. And
Yeah.
your sisters too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play cards and, just not even think like because you have to like think like that, right? You have to reframe it. And that's reframing. It was like, I saw prison as an investment. Honestly.
You did?
Yeah.
How did you get to that mindset?
Because I was like, I knew that I needed to stop the substances. Because obviously when I was on house arrest, I was still like stressed out because I was living in extreme paranoia because I didn't know if people were coming after me. I knew that it was going to be a reset. So I knew that. Rehab's like, what, 30 grand a month? Okay. And then I knew that I was going to do a lot of reading. So I kind of saw it as like this forced sabbatical, which aren't necessarily free. And then I knew that I was going to learn and start something. So I kind of saw it as education.
Good for you.
Right?
I don't
but also
think-
prison. Like I knew I was there to learn something, but the way that I learned is by reframing things.
Yeah.
So not being like, ooh, crying. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah, but I think many people, I thank you for sharing that as well, because a lot of people would become almost paralyzed with the worry and the grief and the concern and how do you fix this? But you
Yeah.
knew.
Not right away. Like it took me a year to get to that stage, and that's why things can
Part of the
take
process.
But then I got bored. I literally got bored with myself by being in that stage of dismay and like, feeling bad and like trying because of course I want to be the victim for a bit, of course, because obviously I didn't orchestrate this thing, but I also knew that staying that way was not going to get me anywhere.
I don't see you saying that you're the victim through any of the
Well, I did
things
hate
I've
him for a
read.
while, remember?
Hate is fair. That's more than fair. Like I
Yeah.
think people would use stronger words than that. And like I said, karma does catch up with people, and hopefully Noah, that nobody cares about, is dealing with his own issues, and we don't need to talk. We don't need to give him any more energy. But instead of you dwelling on that and hating him, you forgave him.
Yeah.
Which is a big step.
Yeah.
Have you forgiven yourself?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Early on, you forgave yourself and gave yourself
Well,
permission.
the day that I went to prison, I forgave myself.
Good for you. How did you do
It
that?
was my mom's birthday. It was like, the day that it was like the light at the end of the tunnel, because that was, instead of seeing it as the end, we saw it as the beginning. Because when you're on charges and you're on house arrest, you don't know what's going on. We had never been through something like that before, so it was like excruciating for everybody. Financially, mentally, just managing all the things. So when I was going to prison, I was like, okay, this is the day I forgive myself, because this is what's next. And like, this is when I'm going to become this, not this new person, but like this.
Improved.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
Same but different.
Reinvigorated. Reinvigorated.
So your mindset is, you've always been this person of like, let's just move it forward. Give yourself some time to think it over, dwell on it, whatever. Because we all have to
Wallow. I
grieve.
had to wallow.
You have to, no matter what you're faced with in life, right? And then you then pushed yourself forward to say, okay, enough. We got to deal with what's
Snap out
ahead.
of it.
Snap out of it, literally.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you are the CEO and founder of this incredible company.
Yeah.
You have employees. You give people chances to come back to society, to feel a part, contributing members.
Yeah.
How important was that for you when you got out to know that you actually were going to make a difference?
Because the people I met inside prison were also a family, right? Because you all have that bond, and it's going to be a part of my, like, that experience, and the people I met there are going to be a part of my life until the 6 feet deep, right? So
you're always staying in contact with them.
no,
checking
not
in.
everyone, but like the close, yeah, of
The
course,
ones
and the experience alone, right? So it's not like I'm just like, oh, it's done and over with. Like, there's still things that happen day to day that may not day to day, but in your life that are going to go back to that, like traveling or my sister's wedding. I couldn't go to my sister's wedding, which was in London last year, all of a sudden. So I had to tell my sister that I was supposed to be the bridesmaid for like 4 months before the wedding, that now I couldn't be a bridesmaid 10 years later. So there are still things that connect you to
that.
the significant moments.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's a reminder. It's life altering, but you work around it. So will there be a point that you could go abroad?
Yeah, I can go to Europe, and then I'm also getting my record suspension soon. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, good. Congrats.
Yes.
So I also hear, and this doesn't surprise me either, before I get to this big announcement, you said you were an introvert growing up. Mm-hmm. So you've learned to come out of your shell through all of this too. What a gift.
Yes.
Because you can carry yourself well. You're now speaking publicly. You've received some awards as well, community awards.
Yeah.
I know for sure because the YWCA is a very important part of my life.
Yeah.
You received a Woman of Distinction Award. What year was that?
2020.
Congratulations.
This was only a year old. I'm like, holy shit.
There you go.
We got something here.
There you go. So that speaks volumes about your character. I want to remind you of that.
Oh, thank you.
And I think that the introvert that you are, I'm so glad that you've come out of your shell. Because you have a lot to give to people and the world.
Yeah, and when you're in prison, I mean, you can't be on your phone, you can't be drinking to socialize, so you're in there, you gotta learn.
You gotta figure it out.
Yeah, you gotta do things without the distractions, whether it's a substance or a device.
So there you go, and you figured that part out. There's a lot of parents that are going to reach out and say, okay, how do I do that with my kids now? Because these phones are driving me crazy. But you got to disconnect
It's true.
from that.
It's 100%.
So
yeah.
You were forced to do it.
Yeah.
But I think you're probably a little bit thankful.
I am. I was severing the tether to tech, I called it.
Amazing.
Great.
Amazing. So all of that leads you to, what's next? Have you written a book?
Well, it's done now. It's done, and it's going to be out January 16th, 2027, which was comeback day because that was the day I went to prison.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you timed it to
Yes,
be that
literally
day.
time.
Literally. And is it what can we be looking forward to? And we'll talk about it closer to, and I promise we'll mention it again. But this is a big deal for you.
Yeah, I started during COVID. It's called the Comeback Recipe. So 30 steps to rebuilding your life.
That's amazing. And you knew you were going to do this.
Yeah. And I have a co-author on it because, I don't like typing. I'm just not a typer.
It's okay.
I go bananas, but I can talk about things, and I can live a day and be like, this is what I learned from it, and then we can put that into lessons. So, yeah, I'm very excited.
That is amazing. I'm excited to read it. I'm excited for you. I'm really excited that you finally came into my life. I don't know where you've been for all these years.
I know.
But I'm really happy to meet you.
Me too.
What are your last words for those that are listening? There's, all kinds of different demographics that listen to the show. Parents, young people. What's your message? What is it about Emily that you learned, and what can you share?
I think the comeback is not a one-time deal. I'm not saying I'm going to go back to prison again, but we are all going to make mistakes, and we have to learn how to come back from them, not once, but multiple times in our lives, because we're going to be stressed. We're going to do things that we're not proud of because life happens. And so, but once you kind of get used to the technique, it becomes easier, right? So be okay with making mistakes and be okay with how you feel after making mistakes. Or maybe don't, but know that you can always come back from them if you try and you work hard at it.
Yeah, thank you. Because a lot of people feel that, and I remember feeling that way as a kid, and even in later life, I made a mistake and I can't get past it.
Don't let anyone tell you what to do.
There's the message too. You follow your heart, you follow your passions.
Except for your lawyer. Listen to your lawyer.
Mostly, mostly. But let's hope not. No one gets into that kind of a situation, Emily. Thank you for being a part of From That Comes This. We could talk a lot more. You shared some really personal stuff, and I appreciate that. Your story is quite remarkable. Your journey to entrepreneurship is not conventional, but it works for you. And
Here we are.
congratulations.
Yes.
I can't wait to have my popcorn.
Come back away, honey.
Well, hopefully you'll come back
I
and
will.
see us again.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Awesome.
having me.
Thank you. Mistakes happen. Shit happens. As Emily O'Brien will attest, we don't always make the best decisions in life. It is what it is. One of her decisions, as you heard today, led her to jail, but her story is proof that even in our lowest moments, we can build a foundation for something meaningful and something really great. Her success is rooted in how she reframed her adversity. Instead of being defined by her past, she did let herself grieve, she did let herself wallow, but she then used that as fuel to propel herself forward. That kind of mindset often leads to persistence, risk-taking, and long-term vision. Key traits in entrepreneurship, my friends. Emily's journey from incarceration to intention, she didn't just rebuild, she reimagined her life and her journey with purpose, poise, and all the grace of someone 3 times her age. So if Emily's story moved you, share it with somebody who needs a reminder. Your comeback is always possible, my friends. And believe, because from that comes this, with love.